Today we're going to talk about my top 5 ways of preparing for a technical interview. It's one of those things that just kind of sucks about software and the job market, and oftentimes people don't get roles because of that, and we're going to talk about how we can maybe, with a little bit of hard work, make it easier so that you do get those roles and a good opportunity doesn't pass you by. So the most important thing about passing a technical interview is to be prepared and to be calm. A lot of times, I know at least for me, when I would be doing technical interviews, I tried to prepare, but I still would get overwhelmed. I'd do much worse than I probably should based off the problem that was given and the situation. And one way that you can really overcome that is by doing mock interviews. And you can do this in person with some developer friends or for people at meetups or colleagues or something like that. But another tool that you can use if you don't have that situation is Pramp.com, which is a free mock interview for a technical interview. And the way that works is you basically get paired up about somebody for the subject matter or language that you're looking to. Let's say you're looking for a senior JavaScript role, and they would pair you up with somebody in that role who would then you'd have a video chat, live chat, and you'd be solving this in a browser as they're kind of going through the motions with you, which is very similar. This is how my interview was for the most part. Minus the video chat, we had a phone call and a text editor where they could see what I was typing at any time with Amazon. And so this is one thing that you can use. And honestly, it's something that I feel like a lot of inspiring developers who maybe just had an internship or haven't got started may not take advantage of and may be intimidated to, and I completely understand that. But here's a tool that will really help you be prepared so that you're not as awkward when game day comes, right? When it's showtime and you can't mess up. And so whether you do mock interviews with other people or you do it through Pramp, I would definitely recommend doing mock technical interviews. This is something that at least it'll make you feel a little less awkward when it's time to actually hit the ground running. So the next thing I would say is actually solve algorithms. Practice, practice, practice. So you see here, this is a site that I use to prepare, codefights.com, which is just an algorithm site. And between the arcade mode, which are algorithms, I solved 92, and I solved 9 interview practices, and I actually solved like another 20, but they changed their system. So in about a 6-week period, I did about 110, 120 algorithms on here amongst studying other things when I knew that I was going to start looking for a role in the near future. And I was like, okay, I need to prepare. So I need to get into the business of being able to break down a problem and solve it. And I need to start thinking very analytically about how to solve these and how fast, and just be accustomed to it. Because realistically, every role is different, but a lot of times, especially in front-end development, you're really not solving algorithms too often. You're not solving things. You're connecting data. You're doing sort of the main HTTP verbs, the gets, the posts, the puts, the deletes, and you're using frameworks to move data and display data and make things look nice and make sure authentication is working and all that sort of stuff. But you're not really usually solving complex equations, or algorithms, unless you're looking for a job, at which point you may. Again, every role is different. I'm mainly talking for front end, but at the very least, most of the time you'll have roles like this. Now, it depends on the technical interview and the company. Some companies will actually give you like a front end assignment, say, hey, we just want you to build a calculator. Hey, we want you to do this or that, especially if you're on the junior end. I can't really speak too much to the senior end. I have less than 2 years experience in the field, but I'd imagine that something similar may or may not happen. Maybe not as much the more senior you get, but it is important to practice these algorithms, because that more than likely that is going to be what you get tested on. That is how you're going to get tested, and you need to practice that. So that's number 2. The third thing is actually do company-specific research. Anytime I have a in-person technical interview or a technical interview over the phone, whatever it is, I always start to do company-specific research. And this may not work for every company, but it's definitely the ones that you can. And all it takes is to literally type in company name, interview questions, and see what may be there. And you can do this at any part of the interview. We're mainly talking about technical interviews, but this can actually help you be prepared to answer questions for maybe the more personality-driven ones, or the right fit-driven ones, where people are trying to figure out, is this guy like gonna be there so that they're going to be a right fit, and sometimes questions will catch you off guard. This is your opportunity to go and do that research and just prepare, so that when the time comes, you can answer it accordingly and not be as caught off, and maybe give a better answer than you normally would get. So company specific research is my number 3, and honestly, it's a little bit of work. These are all a lot of work. This is the thing, but if you actually think about what it is when you're getting a role, you're probably going to make more money. It's probably going to be a better job. And if you just say, okay, well, I'm going to devote 200 hours to this. All right, 200 hours to preparing. And that may, to some of you, sound crazy. Sound absolutely crazy. 200 hours? I'm not preparing for 200 hours. Well, if you study for 200 hours over a 3-month period, you're putting in, about 30 hours a week studying, not necessarily for a technical interview, but preparing for that for 3 months. That's about 200 hours. And so maybe 25 hours a week. And that's really what it takes. But if you actually think about what you're getting paid out by that, so you get a $10,000 raise on that 200 hours that you put in over 3 months. It's totally worth it financially. So that's how I think about it when I'm preparing. I do prepare quite a bit for these things and fill out job apps when the time comes. But do company-specific research, because it can really help you. So number 4, and I hate that this is even a thing, but it does work. I've yet to read it, but I've had so many people recommend it that I find it hard not to recommend it myself. So many people I respect, and so many people who I know have succeeded through doing this. But reading the book, Cracking the Coding Interview, it's kind of crazy, right? That we have to actually go find a book about how to prepare for a technical interview. I don't know. It just blows my mind for some reason. But Cracking the Coding Interview, people have been... they're on the 6th edition now. People have been using this to prepare for those technical interviews for so long. And I'm sure if you can solve these 189 programming questions and solutions, you will probably ace almost anything that goes in there and prepare yourself. It's just kind of crazy to me. It's very, very kind of crazy that this is the state of software development, where we have to study more so to get the job than for the job. Which is kind of exactly what I hated about school. It was more theory than practical. But that's a separate video. So the last but not least, number 5, is preparing for specific framework, specific language questions that are common throughout the field. So this example is AngularJS. Again, it's as simple as typing in something like AngularJS interview questions and seeing what are some basic questions to prepare. And every company is different, but this is all about covering all your bases and preparing yourself. And this could go for PHP, Python, Node, JavaScript, whatever it is. But being able to answer the basic, intermediate, and advanced interview questions, and so that you don't sink, you swim, right? And you need to do this for the specifics. Usually when you're getting a role, full stack, front end, back end, but there's usually a core part of that. If you're back end, maybe C# or PHP, or front end JavaScript, you need to have that one language. That's what you need to prepare for. And if you're going in for an Angular role, you should be able to pass the interview questions for the Angular role. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be a guru or know absolutely everything, but there are some questions that you need to be prepared for, and you need to make sure that you can answer them. That, if you get asked, hey, what are the 4 main HTTP verbs, and you don't say get, put, post, delete, people are going to look at you strange when you say that you have front-end developer experience. And it can be stuff like that, or it can be much more detailed. That's a very entry-level question, but you need to prepare yourself as much as you can to do these things, to be prepared. And this part isn't asking too much, right? The other ones are a lot of time, a lot of effort, But financially, if you prepare yourself and you get a new role, I'm assuming you're leaving a role for more money. And if you do, you get a $10,000 raise and you invest 200 hours preparing, it probably will pay off financially for you. Otherwise, you won't take the role and you'll wait for another one, right? So it's just, these are 5 things that you can do to prepare yourself for a technical interview. And hopefully some of them you're already doing, and hopefully some of them you'll add to. But it does take a lot of time and effort when looking for a new job and transitioning, or looking to get a job and starting in the field. And it's not an easy thing, but there are resources and there are assets out there to help you to do that. So I hope you found this helpful. As always, thank you so much for watching the videos, guys. I appreciate you so much. Good luck in your technical interviews. And don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share. Support me on Patreon, all that good stuff. I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey, baby, what's one way someone might prepare for a technical interview?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe not study the day before.
Quick shout out to DevicePlus.com. If you're interested in the latest IoTs, hacks, do-it-yourself projects revolving around Arduino and Raspberry Pi, they have some great how-to guides. I highly encourage you to check them out, and thanks for watching.